live and stuff. Like, I'm at that stage at the moment where if it doesn't go live, then we're just gonna do it on we're gonna record it and post it. But I think it's doing it and stuff. Like, I'm at that stage at the moment where if it doesn't go live, then we're just gonna do it on we're gonna record it and post it. But I think it's doing it. There you go. Stuff like I'm at that stage at the moment where if it doesn't go live, then we're just gonna. Okay,
You're
cool.
in you're in audio, stereo.
I'm in audio stereo mode and stuff. So, hello, everybody. It's been 2 weeks. It's been 2 weeks. Welcome back to the panel. Today it's myself and the incredible Naomi Holbrook. Can I just say, I was saying to Naomi before we came live that I am loving the work, like her post at the moment, very informative. She's getting a lot of attention with the work that she's doing with helping women. What is it? So I don't even want to pretend to paraphrase what you do. Can you just remind people what you do?
Yes, so I'm known as the unconventional weight loss coach, and I
Mhm.
help women to heal their relationship with food, their body, and themselves.
There you go. So go and have a look at her. It is incredible what she's doing and the transformations and also just the tips that she's given. There's loads. Hello there. My name is Victoria Dioh and I give you your purpose. I'm also your African Oracle. And I've been spending all year working on my messaging and I'm really happy to say that things are getting clear about what I do and how I can help you. But most importantly, let's go back to weight loss. Let's go back to body image. Let's go back to I don't know. Let's go back to women and human beings and how we feel about our bodies. Today, we're talking about the semaglutide injections. So, the reason why I thought we'd bring this on is because 2 years ago, I got approached to go onto this. I am a big girl, I do not hide from it. Um, and they gave it to me because they thought it could help me with my pre-diabetes, which has never been completely confirmed. Can I just say that? So they said, oh, it'll help you with pre-diabetes. And they gave me a leaflet to read, which I did. And I went online and I did my research. And I came back and said, well, there isn't much, but if you think it's going to help with whatever. And at the time, my blood pressure had been going up and I've never had high blood pressure before. So I was like, if it's going to help, fine. So they started giving me the injection. And this was a time when it was scarce to a lot of people. So people couldn't get their hands on it. They were desperate to get their hands on it. Um, I started taking it. I could notice a change in my face. I think I shed about 5 kilos. But otherwise, I don't know what food noise, I don't understand what food noise means. So you might be able to educate us on that today, Naomi, but I don't know what food noise means. So I don't know what that food noise was or wasn't. It didn't change my eating patterns, but I'm mainly a fish, meat, or vegetables girl anyway. Um, anyway, but something just didn't sit right. And especially because of my job, my level of intuition, I went back and I requested a meeting with the doctor and I said, what are the side effects of this? And he couldn't tell me. And we trust doctors. We've been brought up to trust doctors. These are people who spend years studying to get this incredible job where they can help us. And I like this doctor. He's a great doctor. But the fact that he couldn't tell me what I was injecting in my body made me go, yeah, nah, we're not doing it. Especially after the history of other injections that have recently been put into the space and some of the results that we've seen. So I came off it and watched other people go on it and lose a ton of weight. I've never had any envy around it or anything. I've just, if anybody's taking it, I'm going, please check the side effects, speak to your doctor, make sure that you're doing the right thing. On Tuesday, less than 24 hours after being back from Cameroon, because I've been there for a week and a bit, I got a letter that says, this is to inform you that semaglutide is responsible for, I think it's something called NION. It's an acronym, NAION, and it basically is the loss of sight. It came from the surgery, and it said So if you're experiencing any loss of sight, can you contact us as soon as possible? And it made me write a post on social media. I try not to be confrontationist on social media. It's just not my style. But I put it out there and I was like, this is what's happened to me. And my most concern is that a surgery is now saying, or the NHS, because it is part of the NHS thing, is now saying that there's a problem with the injection. And by the time an organization puts their signature against the statement, it means that the damage is more serious than what they're telling us. And I just wanted to put it out there and have that discussion. So, Naomi.
Yeah. It's a big topic. And funny enough, I've had this conversation actually with some journalists this week who contacted me for various different quotes about things. And you know my stance, but obviously there might be people watching this today that haven't, it might be their first time joining along. And I am not anti anything
Yep,
that helps anyone with health, weight,
yep,
mental health, anything, whether that's antidepressants, HRT, bariatric surgery, weight loss injections, whatever it might be. I see them as a tool,
yes,
not a solution. They
not the
don't,
answer.
yeah, they're not the answer. They're a part of the puzzle. However, I've been working with women probably over the last 2 years that have come to me either on them for support to change their behaviors, habits, beliefs, relationship around food, their body, themselves.
Mm,
I've also had women that have come to me having had to come off them because of such drastic side effects that have had a massive impact on their life.
yep.
I also, like you, have had people contact me who have known people firsthand who have. I actually know somebody who has been registered blind since being on them. These aren't new injections. These have been around for over like for 20 years now. However, what has become new is how mainstream, easily accessible, we're hearing stories of people buying them on eBay, on, all these different sites, because that is the problem when something like this becomes so mainstream. And also the cost of it is that people are looking, they're desperate to find ways of getting it and not necessarily going through registered doctors. But your experience is that you actually did go through a registered doctor and still sort of had this. So look, it's a really hard one because some people are so like in this camp or in this camp, and I'm not. And some people might say, oh, that's a really weak place to be, not to sort of choose a side. But I'm not, because I also know that for some people these have been absolutely life-changing.
Yes.
However, I think that when anything becomes mainstream and it is a drug and it is, something that can have huge side effects,
Mm,
it is a massive concern because a lot of people aren't aware of all of that. They're going into it making a choice without being fully informed. And look, we all know that a lot of us had a vaccine a few years ago that we really didn't know anything about at all. We all
I
had it because
do.
we thought that we were going to
Mm,
die if we didn't, or we were going to
mm,
kill
mm,
off half our loved ones who were vulnerable.
mm.
But I think that, you know, there are so many scenarios coming out now, and I'm certainly hearing an awful lot of them, obviously, in the work that I do,
Yes.
where women are coming to me and, have had quite, horrific side effects, and or been so concerned when they've been seeing various different things. And of course, we know that often, that a lot of the press is very much clickbait and
Yeah.
also the stories around it. However, when you're hearing it coming from that individual, then it's not clickbait and it's not kind of, drastic stories. So yeah, I do think that we are going to see a lot of different things coming out from it where people have gone on uninformed. But also, I know of people, I've had women come to me and who have said, I lied to get the medication in the first place. Because obviously you have to put in, when you do it through obviously a private
Mm.
medical or a private pharmacy. I know women that have put fake numbers in there for their body weight because they're not enough weight to actually
Right.
warrant getting them, but they want to get them desperately. So
Mm.
yeah, I had this conversation this week and kind of said that I think it just opens up so many other things. And you started off by talking about like body image, and that's one of the biggest things that I work with women on. Yes, it's about their relationship with food and actually helping them. Weight loss is kind of the side effect, but actually the biggest piece of what I do with women is work with them on their body image, because so many women have struggled since an early age
Yeah.
with how they feel in their own body. And there is women carry so much shame around weight challenges, food challenges, how they look, how they feel in their own body. Plus, then let's put them into that sort of 35 bracket plus when perimenopause and menopause comes along. Women deserve the autonomy to choose what they do with their bodies, but I also think that they deserve to be fully informed before they make choices.
Yeah, 100%. It's so interesting, the line that you've gone down and talking about people faking numbers, because what came to me, and this is me just playing devil's advocate, I'm neither here nor there on the injection. I'm very similar to yourself, which is just do your homework, like ask questions, and also think to yourself, if somebody can't back what they're putting into your body, it's just like the injections a few years ago, right? During lockdown and stuff. I was like, nobody can tell me where these injections have come from. Nobody can tell me. And I was like, I ain't doing it. And I was lucky enough that I wasn't socializing, so I didn't get a backlash from people or anything else. But there was very much a divide of, vaccine and non-vaccine and everything else. I don't regret not doing it and stuff. And you know what? Can I just say about that particular injection? Within, I think around 2022, I was driving a lot on the motorway back and forth between clients, and I developed pain in my leg. And when I rang 111, they rushed me to hospital, and it was a blood clot. And every single nurse I spoke to, including the doctors, and I spoke to many, because it was, you had to come in the evening, they gave you injections, then you had to come back in the morning. Every single person I touched said, did you take the injection? And when I said no, they were like, oh, thank God for that. Every single one. And again, it's a very similar reaction to this. And so it's like, you're pushing something on me because I've intuitively gone no. You're then now relieved that I didn't take it, which then makes me go, I'm going to trust my intuition even more, because I can't rely on you. However, what I was going to say on this is that if I'm playing devil's advocate and just sitting on almost like being a spokesperson for the injection people, the semaglutide people, they're sitting down and going, but we have remits by which you can. So you need to be able to weigh a certain amount. So I know people who have been taking overdoses so that they can lose weight quicker. And I guess if any drug, even aspirin, is mismanaged, there will be a side effect. So I had somebody the other day, and I'm not saying this is her case, who said to me that she had a stroke in her eye as a result of the injection. And there's other people, headaches and passing out. I believe that there's been a couple of deaths around it as well. I can't vouch for that. I just saw that written down somewhere. But I guess the question is, because we could talk about this all day and talk about the problems around it and everything else and people's mismanaging, what needs to go in place to stop people thinking that this is the answer?
Mhm. And it is an education piece. And if you do, like we were saying, if you do not do that work around what caused the weight, the relationship with food in the first place,
Mm,
then either you need to think about staying on the drug long term,
mm,
or when you do come off it, which is what I am obviously seeing, is that when women do come off it, they regain all the weight and plus some. And I'm not saying that is every single case, but those are the women that are coming
Sorry.
to me, the ones
Yeah.
that have come off it because of either the cost, the side effects, the concerns around the side effects. Um, and then regained that weight because they have not changed anything with
Mm,
that relationship. And of course, because of the suppression of appetite, when you do come off it, what some people are experiencing is literally, and you said about food noise, and let's talk about that because I'll be honest with you, for 30 years of my life, I thought there was something inherently wrong with me. I actually experienced food noise from an early age, from 8 or 9 years old, and didn't know until it started being talked about a few years ago that I was like, oh my God, like I wasn't alone. This is a thing. I thought I was crazy because it was, and really what food noise is, it's when you do from the minute you wake up in the morning until you go to bed at night, your thoughts are around food.
right.
And so my first thought in the morning used to be, what did I eat? What did I eat yesterday? What did I eat last night? And then if the first thought was, oh God, I had chocolate last night, then the guilt came in. But then also what would happen is the desire, the need to have like the next thing, or like what am I going to have for my breakfast? But not like in a like calm, like, oh, what am I going to have for breakfast
Mhm.
today? It was much, much more prevalent than that.
Right.
And that's, it's so many people describe that actually the injections lower the food noise. I get it because it's why I created the formula that I have. It's what women experience inside my program within a really short period of time, a week, maybe even sort of just a few days, is they feel that calmness around food that they probably have never ever experienced. So
Right.
if you don't do that work
Mm,
and kind of heal the root cause, then regardless of whether it's injections, bariatric surgery, whatever it might be, the problem is still there. It's
mm.
just been masked.
100%. 100%. Can I just say, I don't know if I've told you this story before, because I know we've talked about the injection before, but this is like a different take on it. I used to know a lady, um, and a big lady, probably about my size now, because I'm the biggest I've ever been. And she had the she had the surgery, and she started to lose a lot of weight. And I remember bumping into her at the local pool down the road. And I swam over to her and said, "Are you glad you did the surgery?" And she looked at me dead in the eye and she went, "If I knew what I know now, I would have never have done it." And it really struck me because whilst I've always aimed to be fit and thought to myself, do you know what, if I'm fit, then the weight can come off. I've never seen myself as a size 8 or anything like that. It's like I just want to move. I want to be able to move and what have you. And I haven't moved for about maybe 5 years, hence I've piled on the pounds. But I remember a while back, the doctors were getting concerned of like, listen, you're not losing weight. Like we're looking at your food, we're looking at this, and they suggested that I have this thing. So I said to them, fine. I said, I'll go speak to the doctor and do some research. And I walked in, and this doctor's wall was pretty much about the whole operation. Like it was literally like your whole body, like your whole insides and where they would go. And as somebody who does healing for people and uses my intuition, I felt like Samson and his hair locks in the Bible. I was just like, you can't, it wasn't even fear. I was just like, there is nothing inside me that you need to cut out. I said, it's deeper work, but it's not that. And actually, the surgeon agreed with me, and we had the most beautiful conversation. And it makes you think, if you're sat there agreeing with me, why then do you need to then operate on the next person who comes in?
Yeah.
I get a bit confused with that. That's where I get confused with inconsistency. So I'm looking at you going, why are they doing the operations, Naomi?
Yeah, and again, this is where education and support comes into place. I've had women come to me over the last couple of years that have had multiple bariatric surgeries, not just one, and each time regained the weight and more because they have never been given the tools to understand,
Mm,
to recognize the patterns that they have, and for a lot of women the patterns that they've lived with since childhood.
yeah,
For most, yes, for some women it is, around menopause that they have the struggles with weight gain, but actually for the majority of the women, especially the women that come to me, it has been from childhood, from adolescence,
yeah.
but whether it's the relationship with food, whether it's something that was said to them around food, whatever it might be. And it's so rare that that education and support piece, but also, what I've done is create a community that is shame free. And so many women, what they say is within a short period of time, like even letting go of that shame
Mm,
enables them to move forwards on a
mm,
healthier journey. So I think the biggest piece that's missing is the education and the support.
yeah.
And that, again, a symptom is being treated rather than what's actually caused that to happen in the very first. It's like people who have migraines get, and look, my literally 30 years, I was on so much medication. At 39, I was pretty much addicted to opioids. Which I was on because of I have degenerative disc disease, scoliosis. I had major spinal surgery in my 30s. I have been on antidepressants, opioids, sleeping drugs, all sorts of things in my teens, 20s, and 30s. And
Mm,
I know that not one single thing treated the root cause. It all masked some pain or alleviated some pain. Now, I've reversed all those medical conditions, come off all that medication, so I do know that until you heal what's at the root cause, I had migraines for nearly 30 years. I was given all these injections, all these different things. What nobody actually did really was like, what's causing the migraine in the first place? What's at the root of this? It's like, people getting given painkillers for backache and different things. And actually it's probably because they're sat all day and maybe even the seat isn't supportive, and maybe they need to get up and walk around every 45 minutes, or get out and have a 30-minute walk. If we don't get to the root cause, we're actually just causing a bigger problem.
yeah.
And of course, the problem is that when something like this has become so mainstream, trying to then, like, I mean, it really is like trying to re-educate too many years down the line when actually the problem is already out there and is quite prolific. So it's a difficult piece.
Yeah, it's really serious, you know. It's like I almost feel like it's even more serious than the social media pandemic and stuff. Like it's getting to the point where because it's feeding on people's insecurities. The fact that they've released the distribution. So this is where I then go against the company and go, but you could have kept it controlled and you didn't. So you've obviously done it for money. You've done it for money. You've released it. You've put people at risk. Hugely. Um, and like you say, the body image, the self-confidence, the guilt, like that continuous space. And also thanks for explaining food noise, because I I don't get food noise. But equal, and it's really frustrating because part of me was going, if you tell me what food noise is, then I can go, oh yeah, that's me. And I'm going, yeah. As if, but I think I also go the opposite side as well. And I'm not saying that's right either. Um, but it makes me really sad. And as women especially, and a male friend of mine posted on Facebook and said the only thing I got out of Ozempic was a massive bill. He goes, I've not lost any of the weight and I've just paid him because it doesn't deal with the core issues as to why you behave in that way, or what you're holding on to yourself and what have you. I believe mine is holding on, like you hold on because you're what are you protecting? What are you holding on to yourself that you're not releasing so that the weight can go? Um but it makes me hugely sad that as women, we're not tapping into what we've been given, which is our intuition, to be able to go, this doesn't feel right. This doesn't make sense. Let me ask more questions. And it could be because our voices have been taken away from us. Like we've all been there, right? We've all had people try and take our voices away. And while some of us have managed to find our voices and are changing the world with that, not everybody has. Um, it makes me sad that young children are seeing this and thinking it's normal. It makes me sad that people of authority are doing this and people who admire them are watching this and going, that's what I want to aspire to be. And it makes me sad that reality is somehow skewed because it's not real. Like, I know somebody who's he's doing some incredible work. He's taken these injections and he looks awful. And but everybody's starting to look the same as well. It's like there's no individuality in anything anymore. So it just makes me terribly sad. And I pray that we find a way to educate. And this is where you didn't know I was gonna do this, but I'm gonna say how can you how can people get in touch with you? Because I'm seeing some of the women that you're working with and I'm seeing the work that they're doing and I'm seeing the confidence and stuff like somebody's just gone on holiday and stuff and they're showing themselves and they're showing themselves it's not a perfect body. It's like this is who I am. And even if it's just like finding a group that they can come into it just to get that knowledge and that education, where can people find you?
Yes, so all over social media.
She is all over
Everywhere.
social media.
So Facebook, LinkedIn, Naomi Holbrook, Instagram at Naomi Holbrook Coach. I also have, as you say, I have a free community as well, which is in Facebook, which I welcome women to come and join. And, like you said, there's such an education piece around this. And I know as a woman who battled for 30 years with, food addiction, with emotional eating, with disordered eating, with so many health problems as a result of
Mm,
my weight and what I was eating and everything else, that there is there is this big piece that so many women are missing who and for a lot of women don't even know it exists like I didn't know. So I also have a book, Your Weight Is Not the Problem. Not just any book,
just
Amazon #1
number
bestseller.
one, please. Thank you. And didn't you get like an accolade or something like it was the most gifted book or something?
Yes. So it was Amazon #1 in 4 categories. It was in diet and weight loss. It was in happiness. It was, as you said, well done for remembering. It was
I,
most gifted. And I think health and wellness, happiness, self-development, various different categories.
mm,
But also, all joking aside, I have had messages from women all over the world that have got hold of this book, read this book, and so many of them have said, like, for the first time in their lives, they've actually felt understood, seen, heard, and also like not a failure because for
mm,
so many women, that whole journey of around body image and
mm,
how we feel about ourselves, for so many women, it literally has taken, it's been such a huge piece of their life. And you said there about, women finding their voices. And I think we are so, not, I say we, women are often scared to like push professionals, medical professionals. And I've had women come to me who have been on the NHS wait list for 7 years for pretty serious medical things, and we've reversed them inside of my program within a really short period of time. But so often women are getting fobbed off,
yeah,
pushed to one side,
yeah,
given a prescription,
yeah.
never, ever, ever asking. And it's not even asking loads of questions, just asking the right questions to understand what is going on under the bonnet, what's causing the medical problem, what's causing the weight gain, what's causing the, relationship with food. And when we get to that core piece, actually, the work is relatively simple.
I love it. I love. Listen, I could say so much more. Um, there's doctors out there doing some great work, but I think what we need to realize is that it is a business as well. And that's where we need to take responsibility for ourselves, to ask the questions, to push, to insist. I find as if every time I speak to a doctor, which I thank God, touch wood, I don't see them that often, but when I do, I feel as if I'm having to insist and go, no, I need to see a doctor today. It is very important. This is how I want, and even to the point where I go, actually, this is not the medication you should be giving me. These are the questions you should be asking me, not because I know better than them, but because I know who I am. And I also don't want to just go home with a packet of pills, So thank you so much. I didn't know that it was going to go down this route and stuff, but I think and actually we're meant to have somebody else join us. And in a way, it's worked out really well because we can have a really focused conversation. And anybody who's experiencing anything around any issues around weight loss, confidence, in their body image and anything else can actually come and speak to you, reach out to you, come into your group at least, and just spend time and understand whether this is the work that they want to invest in or not, or just buy the book, whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody. We'll speak to you next week. Take care. Uh, I think I'm just going to say goodbye.
I can still see YouTube's up there live.
Just one moment. I'm going to go back and I'm going to go have a look at YouTube. And then I'm going to do, how do we do that? 1 minute. 1 minute. 1 minute.